Hey friends, welcome to a new episode of Marquita's Naughty Crush. Of course, I'm Marquita. And I'm really excited to share with you that while we're still having the Vestember mail, which is we make vests during the month of, well, actually to the end of September. I'm going to insert this here because I tend to forget. If you don't want to hear me babble and go on and on about subjects you don't care as much about, please check and look at the timestamps below so that you can click and forward to the section that you're most interested in. Okay, and now let's go back. Until it ends on September 30th. That's still going on. We have a Ravelry group that you may want to check out. I'll put all that information in the description box below. And I've made two vests. I'm going to share with you in just a second my third vest that's not working up as quickly, and I think I kind of know why. And then from there we're going to talk about finished objects, some more whips, and a few acquisitions. So here we go. Okay, so I'm actually enjoying making this. I know I just made this like terrible face. I am enjoying making, but after you make two vests and they fly off your hook just like that, and then you make a third and it's so slow, it can be annoying. That's been really annoying. So that's okay. I don't know if I'm gonna finish this third vest. I mean, I shouldn't complain because it's the third one, right? This third vest by the end of the mail, sorry I had to grab this, by the end of the mail on the 30th, but I have gotten quite a bit done. So I'm not exactly sure if I'm going to make this cropped. I'm not exactly sure how much sleeve I'm going to give this. I know it's going to be blocked to stretch it out and give it a little bit more room. That's a definite. And I know I'm going to make the back a little bit wider. So let's start from the beginning. There's no pattern. All that I did was find a YouTube tutorial on houndstooth, which was inspired by Alabama football, Roll Tide. I'm an alumni of University of Alabama, and houndstooth is a really big theme because of the awesome coach that we had, Bear Bryant, and he wore houndstooth. So I wanted some houndstooth, but I just didn't want to make the typical black and white. And going down that rabbit hole, I noticed that as long as you continued the same sequence and had a good bit of contrast, you can make just about any kind of look with houndstooth you wanted. So I went with Marquita colors, which are kind of fall, kind of flirty. Well, that's what I call flirty kind of colors. And I love it. I love it. But it's taking so much longer than the rest of my vest because now I'm working with DK weights. This is a the company that closed, y'all. What's it called? Not Knit Picks, Knit Crate. These two are Knit Crate yarns that were gifted to me by Rochelle of Queen's Yarn Boutique. So sweet. She knew these were my colors, y'all. And another yarn from Webs, and I'm going to put it on the screen because it's just not coming to mind right now. From, was it webs.com or yarn.com? I forget, but these are the color combos. They're all, okay, so this is merino, non-superwash. I believe this is a superwash, and this is a Peruvian Highland wool, if I'm not mistaken. That was another thing that influenced what I was going to make with this yarn because I have to wear something underneath it. So how best to use it if not in a vest? And this color, I really don't want it close to my face because it's going to make me itch. But it is beautiful, and it's not too itchy for me to work with, which is good. But any specifics that I might have goofed up, I'll put it on the screen if it's not accurate. So no pattern for this. All that I did was go on YouTube and find just a simple houndstooth pattern to follow. And of course, I typically just make for myself and just use my own measurements. Now, I know I'm going to run out of yarn, and I do have 2 cakes of each of these colors. So I'm really planning on blocking it, but hopefully not aggressively blocking it. so that even when the fabric relaxes, there won't be too many gaps. But then it won't matter, maybe not as much, because I planned on wearing a white button-down shirt. So even if there are gaps because of so much white yarn used without, it won't be as noticeable. I don't like gaps in my fabric unless it's a granny square type of pattern like you see here. Hopefully you can see that. So that's what I'm going for. And because I am working 3 colors, and you can work as many colors as you want with houndstooth, just as long as you keep the same pattern going, I've been cutting the yarn on the end. So it's taken a little longer because there are 3 colors. I'm cutting the yarn and weaving in as I go, which for me takes a little bit more concentration. So I may or may not finish this by the end of September 30th. But also on that note, from the colors, it's looking more late spring, early fall to me. So I really want to make this as soon as I can, because I can't see myself wearing this in November, because I kind of dress according to seasonal and mood, and it's just a little bit too bright, even though it does have that earthenware type of terracotta, you know what I mean? It's just too much lightness in it. But I think it's perfect for September, October, early November, but I really can't see myself wearing this after the 31st of October. But I'm excited about it. This first panel or front panel is almost completely done. Oh, before I forget, it's almost completely done. So then I'll work the back panel, and this just may be cropped. I will have a collar. I'll just attach it after I seam this. I will attach it and make the collar, and I'm thinking a whole lot about whether or not I want this to be cropped, because I know it will. I know it's gonna grow, and I will crop this if I plan on making the sleeves a little bit longer to make sure that I have enough yarn. But like I said, I do have 2. So maybe I'll be good. But I'm really loving it. I love the houndstooth. I think I will end up making many over the years, many more patterns with houndstooth in them. Oh, and like I said, I almost forgot to mention, I have been obsessed with these peach agate. I love my stones, y'all. With these peach agate stitch markers and little peach jam jars from Monarchy Thread. Oh, love them so much. Look how cute. I love these so much. She just did such a great job. I love the peach with the gold. Anyways, I'll make sure to list her information in the blog so you can check out her handmade, and you can wear them as earrings if you get a lever clasp, or do you say lever clasp instead of a claw, or there's another one, I can't think of what it is right now. Oh, so cute. And you can pick out which one you want. Oh, I love her work. So that's where I am with the Vestember Mal. And my one finished object are my Sushi socks, which I'm very proud of. And they turned out to be more, they're not twins, so I guess they're just sister socks. But anyways, so I love this colorway so much, but I didn't have the best time working on these socks. Not because of anything was actually wrong. It's just that in my mind, after watching Ashley of Paper Crane Yarns podcast, when she made her sushi socks, her sock yarn was made from Targhee wool. And I fell in love with Targhee wool after I purchased the Woolens and Nosh Falling Leaves sock KCAL that was hosted by Denise of Earth Tones Girl. Oh, it it made me be a sock yarn snob. Not sock yarn for anything except socks. So that's fingering and sock yarn. You know, sock yarn, like, because the hooks that we use to make socks are so small, and I have small hands, you know, like not super small hands, but I have small hands. So it shouldn't be that big of a deal working with smaller hooks. But it makes a huge difference when the yarn is plumper and it's smoother and it's soft and it's really luscious, as opposed to being, no, this is not over dyed. These are perfect, but it's not Targhee, and hers were Targhee, and I didn't get Targhee. I got Corridale, and I don't think I noticed that when I purchased it. So while I was working with it, I kept saying, this is just not the same feel as my Fallen in Leaves socks. It's not the same. And went back and looked, and it's Corridale. Now, let's talk about Corridale. Corridale is a beautiful yarn, but it is a hardier yarn than merino. And that's not saying that it's rustic at all. Corridale is a beautiful yarn. It is a soft yarn, but it's not as soft as merino and not as plumpy thick, at least the way that this yarn was spun, as Targhee. I am a Targhee sock yarn snob. Now, don't get me wrong, I do run into a lot of really soft yarns, superwash merinos, you know, llama yarns that I really like, and I think that they're great and they're wonderful to work with. Like I mentioned, it's just for socks I need, because the experience can really take a toll on my hands, especially having inflammation, to work with a very luxurious sock for such tiny stitches. Now, this is my own vanilla sock recipe. I'll take one off they have not been wet blocked yet. I've only just put them on the blockers so that they can have this shape when I show it to you guys. Honestly, like, I don't care what they look like, because I'm just gonna throw them on, but so that they look pretty when you see them, I put them on the blocker so it can give it a little form, a little fit. But when they're on, you can see that they have more of a wedge toe shape. Let's give it some form. More of a wedge toe shape. And that's my favorite shape for socks. So I guess I can throw in a picture here where you can see the socks. I forgot about that. I did post that. But these are my Sushi socks. The color, the yarn is by Woolens and Nosh. Her yarns are beautiful. I love self-striping socks. And being new to sock making, especially as a crocheter, like I mentioned, I am very choosy about the type of yarn that I use to make the socks. And so I know now that most of the time when I make socks, they're probably gonna come from Michelle of Woolens and Nosh, because the experience was so wonderful. So this is another set that I've purchased, and I don't plan on making these particular socks anytime soon. But what I do know is that I won't be following probably hardly any patterns for these socks, because I am absolutely in love with the stripes. I don't want twists, I don't want turns, I don't want gaps. I found the perfect vanilla sock recipe for me. Like, I totally get now why people go to the same patterns over and over. Now, the only thing that I plan to do differently with my socks, and I had started with some yarn that I didn't like the other day. It's an earth yarn. Now, the yarn is beautiful, but as far as it being so tiny and not very soft and plump, I mean, let me see how I explain this. Working with Targhee yarn for me is like, I love donuts, okay? I love donuts. I'm not supposed to be eating them, but I love donuts. But my favorite donuts are the cake donuts. So, you know, there's a big difference in texture from Krispy Kreme glazed donuts, which are wonderful. They're great. They're sweet. They're soft. You know, they melt in your mouth. And then you have a Krispy Kreme cake donut that's thick and it's denser, and it's more, to me, it's more buttery, and it has just this great texture on the roof of your mouth. That's what Targhee yarn does for me when I'm making socks. And because the yarn, the hooks are so small, like I mentioned, I've got to have it. I have to have that, and I can just feel it just by holding it this way, what it's going to work, how it's going to work up. So I did. I bought another set that I plan on making sometime in the spring, maybe November, but I kind of doubt it because I have, y'all know I love gingerbread. I got some gingerbread yarn that I want to make with that. But this might be like closer to spring when I make it, but it's super wash Targhee fingering. The colorway is Pressed Flowers. It's 90% Targhee and 10% nylon. It's 411 yards, 3-ply. It's gonna have such good definition. 100 grams and hand washed in cool water, dry flat. So I treated myself. I hadn't bought sock yarn in a long time, but I saw this. I had been wanting this for a very long time. So I went ahead and purchased it. And so, I'm sorry, but I am a sock yarn snob now. I cannot explain the plump, thick, I don't know how to put it in words. But I love this yarn for socks. It helps me because it feels so good to really ease up on my tension. I love it. So those are my socks. I just went on and on and on about socks. Okay, so now we will talk about some, I guess, future makes. But before that, one whip that I do want to share, because I have three whips that have been going on for a couple of years that I need to finish. But one from last year, because I didn't have all the yarn that I needed. I talked about it in the last episode, how I was really sad and really disappointed that I couldn't get the yarn that I ordered to finish in the same color, which is okay. I ended up buying some drops yarn. It's okay. And let me show you where I am on the sleeve. So the sleeves, I'm not far at all, and I think it's just knowing all I have to go is just a little bit. Oh, it's just sleeves. So I plan on probably finishing it by the end of November to wear it, but maybe before that. But I decided to do just front post double crochets. I need a stitch marker. Front post double crochets for the sleeve, and y'all, I really like the texture. Let me grab a stitch marker. I love the texture of this sleeve. Okay. It's so pretty. I love this texture. And that's all I did. I did a few decreases. Like I did a decrease in every 5th stitch for the first, because where it sits on my body is right here. My arms are super skinny. Like I'm filled out everywhere else, but my arms are really skinny. So where the sleeve started, like right at my elbow, and it's really skinny. So I wanted to do some very sudden dramatic decreases there, and that's exactly what I did, and it turned out really well because you can even see how nicely it lines in. So anyways, it's a decrease, 2 double crochets together in the 5th stitch for the first 3 rows, and then it's just double crochets all around. These are all front post double crochets, and at the end of the row it's just slip stitch and just keep going. And sometimes I get a little lazy, and I think that's what I did here, but I'll get a little lazy and I'll say, okay, since I'm not decreasing anymore, I don't have to keep up with that, I'm just gonna go ahead and just keep working it around. And I think that's what I did right here. And I think you can even see, where is it at? You can even see right here that dip that's there. That dip's not really there anymore. So that's just one of my little lazy methods. But that's all, and I only have a little bit of the sleeve done, and you can see how quickly it decreases when you do 2 double crochets together every 5th stitch. Like, that is so quick. So it's just going to be the same thing. That's gonna be so pretty, and I think those colors are great for November. And I'm a seasonal, I'm inspired by seasons and moods, so those colors are perfect. I don't wear a lot of purples, but I think I tend to wear more mauve and more cranberry-ish, purplish, eggplant-ish, even mustard colors in November. So we'll see how it goes. Now, another thing I wanted to share is, because I've been making so many vests, I have this single little skein of yarn, and I don't want to make a cowl with it. I have so many cowls, and I could use a few more super shawls, or like really large body. I call them like a body wrap shawl, that I just don't want to make any this year. I just don't. But I would like, because of the vest I've been making, I would like to make a vest with these 2 yarns, which means it's going to be extremely cropped. And that means I don't know if I want to make a traditional type of vest, or I want to make the vest that looks more like a bodice. But I don't know if I can see myself wearing that. So if anyone has any patterns or YouTube tutorials you think that could help me out with that look, and I think where it's stitched to close, I would prefer it to be in the back. I'm not sure, but I'm thinking I can actually get a small bodice out of these, and I'm hoping to hold this double. Now, this is a earth yarns. This is the one I mentioned I was working with for socks, and it just wasn't happening. I did not enjoy working with this, but I think holding it double in another project would be great. This is monochrome fingering hand-dyed extra fine merino. I think it's a 2-ply. I'm not crazy about this yarn. It's 435 yards. Fingering weight. It just feels like it cooked for a long time. It's not quite crunchy, but I couldn't use this for socks. It's just me. So anyways, I was thinking of this for the collar, of course, for the outlining of the sweater, and if need be, because this is only 200 yards. I want to say this is Handspun. This is a Handspun. It's the ultimate sock yarn, mohair and South Down. 75% South Down Shetland wool, 25% mohair. The animal's name was Betty. It's a 2-ply. It's such a thick, like, this ain't no sock yarn. This ain't no sock yarn. This is some type of DK, and it feels amazing. But I plan to work with this, like I mentioned, maybe some type of bodice type look. And I got this gorgeous fiber from Nest Fiber Club. It's the Cassiopeia Targhee. It's from the August club. I love it. I did cancel I did tell her that I wanted to cancel my subscription and just get her fall colors, because they really are more in line with my color range. I mean, what I really like to wear. But this is gorgeous. So of course it's going to be a minute before I spin this. I think I won't really be spinning again until January, November, but we will see. I've been thinking about that a lot lately, because I've got quite a few bags of fiber. So that's another acquisition that I have. And then for this year's Fallen in Leaves sock cowl, I hope to work with the earth yarns. I forget the name of them, but they're matching striping sock yarns that come in 2 cakes in a little box. I cannot think of the name of it right now, but they're supposed to work up identically to give you identical twin socks. So because it's striping, but because they're kind of tonal striping, I may use this really pretty pattern, and I like long socks. This really pretty pattern from the Fingering Weight yarn, the Cakewalk, and this is from Hooked on Socks. And yes, it is part of the international giveaway we're gonna have for Vestember. 2 prize winners, 1 international and 1 US resident, and an international will get a gift card, hopefully to purchase a sock pattern leading them into Socktober, October. But it's their choice, but it will be the amount that the ebook is. So anyways, this is Hooked on Socks. It's from the We Crochet collection, and I thought the Cakewalk sock would be really nice. Or there was one more, because I still haven't made up my mind yet for Socktober. It is, let me go back to the front of the book. I think it's called the Sideways Starter on page 30. Here it is. I thought these are really cute too because of the kind of the tonal look that this sock has. You know, I've wrapped this around because I had started to see how I would like the way it looked. But I hope you can tell. It kind of has a, even though it's striped, it kind of has a tonal look to the dye, which made me think of this. So I don't know. But I did take a look at the pattern, and it's not in a crochet term language that really speaks to me. So when I make these, I can't be rushed to do it. I'm really gonna have to take my time. It's not that it's too hard to understand, but she puts things in a way I wouldn't say it that way. So it'll just take me a minute to be like, okay, I got this, you know. Anyways, I am excited to try the socks in there and I'm going to try really hard not to go with my vanilla socks, but these will look so good striped in just vanilla, my vanilla sock, crochet sock recipe. So anyways, that's all I have, that's all I have to share with you today. Thanks so much for joining me. I have been reading a lot lately and taking care of my sweet little baby bird. Do you want to see Peaches? Let me show you Peaches. Come on, Peaches. Peaches is still getting used to us. So Peaches is still a bit feisty. Bye, Peaches. So it is what it is. He'll get used to being with us, and hopefully I can teach him some cute tricks. But for the most part, he's really happy. He's been sleeping with one leg up, which means he feels safe and he feels comfortable, and I'm so happy about that. But anyways, I gotta pick up kids from school, so I'm gonna talk to you guys later, and I'll see you again in the next episode. Bye bye.